Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the 360 podcast series. My name is Ed Masterson. I'm honored to be the host for these episodes, and I'll be introducing a great guest here in just a moment. Before I do that, I want to thank our sponsor for these episodes, Mr. Fred Arnold of 360 Executive Suites here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Fred has 4 state-of-the-art properties here in Santa Clarita, office complexes with phenomenal amenities. The one that we have the podcast studio located in is on the Old Road. Some of you will know it. It's a landmark building just off the 5 freeway at 25101, the Old Road. In addition to the podcast studio being located here and a phenomenal collection of office space, up on the 2nd floor of this building as well is Fred's new home center. For anybody that's interested in maybe thinking about buying a home, getting preliminary information, or if maybe you're further along in the process than that, up on the 2nd floor, the new home center is a very interactive spot where you can get tons of information about purchasing a home out here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Excuse me. So check that out. If you're interested in office space as well, if you need a business home away from home to do whatever it is you do, Fred's team of people are fantastic. We'll put up some contact information at the end of the episode. You can call over, arrange for a tour, drop by for a visit, and get a really good look at this. The thing that to me that impresses me the most about all 4 of Fred's properties is the great camaraderie and the vibe and sort of the collaborative environment that it's at each of the properties. So if you're looking for something like that for yourself, they would be a good place to start. My guest today, great gentleman, Abnish Rajbanshi, is here today. And Abnish, you are a financial educator and also an entrepreneur. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I'll get a little bit of it wrong. You believe in helping to educate people financially so that they understand some of the long-term, lifelong ramifications and approaches and philosophies to how to manage and be better educated about finances. And you're able to offer them that type of service, right? As an entrepreneur yourself.
Yes, you're correct. First of all, Ed, thank you so much for this opportunity, right?
Sure.
And before I say like what we do, I want to give you a little bit background about
Please.
where I came from, right?
Yes.
So I came from this beautiful country called Nepal, right, in 2007 as an international student. But at that time, like when I thought like United States is like, this is the dream country, which is like 100% true, right? And when I thought like, once I came to the United States, once I come to the United States, like I thought like everyone is rich and wealthy, right? You have a great life. But I came to know that here, even this is a dream country, richest country in the world, most people are living paycheck to paycheck. I realized that. And I realized that a lot of people doesn't have education on finance, right?
Right.
Not a personal finance. These things are not taught in school. And unfortunately, these things, if you go to financial industry, they are more like transactional, sales driven. What am I going to sell? Ed, right? More focused on that.
Right.
And what I realize is like there is no financial education here. So what we do is actually we help family, we educate them, right? Not only like not only about how money works. When I say how money works, there is like 3 rules, right? Basically, getting a compound interest, right? Like not losing money in the market or tax exempt, things like that, right? And educating them not only like how money works, but also helping them manage their own money and helping them make more money, because financial education is not just like how money works, but actually making more money so that they can have better lifestyle, and also helping them in self-improvement, like communication, leadership skills, and things like that, so that they can make more money and manage their own money.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we do.
So, which is incredibly valuable, and you're correct, Abnish. There may be some financial literacy taught in some schools, but for the most part, I can just speak for myself. I was born and raised in California, never once had any financial literacy taught to me in school, whether it was grade school, high school, college, never. So I think to your point, which is really valuable, and I think especially in today's world, and you would know this better than I do, of course, but the financial world to me today seems like maybe easier to understand and more difficult to understand at the same time. Like there might be nuances to each side of that coin that make it harder to keep on top of, but potentially for people that have educated themselves, maybe a little easier to keep on top of. But the average person, to your point about living paycheck to paycheck and not having any foundational education about finances in their life and how best to approach that as like a component of your life, just like healthier eating or, whatever it is that you do, it is something that is missing. And I love the fact that you're kind of addressing that and offering people that service and that gift of becoming better educated about the elements of finance and how it plays into our lives in a variety of ways, right? Is that kind of part of the challenge?
Yes. So, I'll give you an example. Originally, my professional background, I used to be civil engineer. I worked like 12 years in civil engineering field. I have master's degree in civil engineering, worked 7 years in construction and inspection, private industry, and got my PE license and used to work almost like 5 years in Caltrans, designing pavements.
Okay.
I used to think that like something like financial education or like being financially independent, you start saving after 50 years old. But slowly, I started to get dissatisfied somehow about not just like working 9 to 5. I wanted to grow as a person, and I realized that, in order to be happy, you need like growth and contribution, right? And at the same, while I was growing, right, I was learning and things like that, I realized that, financial education is so important. Then I started this journey in 2021 March, right? And then I started to sit down with many people from different ages, right? I sit down with like 17, 18 years old versus like 68, 70 years old, right? They have dreams, right? They plan like their dreams, but they don't have right plan. Very delusional.
Yeah.
Very delusional. Yeah. And when you go to like financial advisor, they throw such a like complex numbers and complex terms. So what we do is we just educate people on simple terms that anyone can understand, right? So just for an example, what's the challenge here? I sat down with like 25, 30 years old person, right? And I think it's 25. So I was doing his, like, I gave him like financial education to understand what's his financial independent number is. Financial independent number is something that it's a total amount of money someone needs at a specific age. So once you achieve that amount of money, you're financially independent.
So at various ages, there's different numbers that indicate that you are financially independent.
So based on your number and based on your expenses and how the inflation is going, like how things are getting expensive every year, we calculate based on that how much money you need, whatever age you want it to be financially independent.
Okay.
And once you achieve that number, just by the interest of that money will take care of your expenses the rest of your life. You don't have to work after that. Basically, you're financially independent, right? But I'm sitting down with all the different ages people, and they have these dreams, but they don't have plans, right? I sit down with someone, right? I show him his financial education, financial independent number. He's super excited, and he says, "I wanted to save, but not this year, next year." So he said, I'm getting done with my MBA, and I'll get a better job, and I'll get a better job, and then I'll get a higher salary, and I'll start saving, right?
Okay.
Next year, I follow up with him, this young guy, and he said, you won't believe this. I have $25,000 in, I have a student loan plus $25,000 in this credit card debt, which is charging me like 25% compounding interest, right?
Yeah.
And I was able to help him with the debt management, things like that. And, still he hasn't saved, meaning to say people procrastinate. The hardest part is people to like start saving for their future, right? And that's one example. The second example is I'm sitting down with 68 years old woman, right? And she's happy, right? And like, I'll work 10 years from now to 68 to 78, right? But when I was doing a financial need analysis for her, she has no clue. No clue, like, what if she works after 78, if even she doesn't work, she retires, doesn't mean she is financially independent.
Yeah.
So that bugs me a lot, that, that's why this education is most important, right? So that's why I love what I do. I just love what I do. Like, I don't feel like working.
Did you, Abnish, because I know you talked about being a civil engineer.
Yeah.
So that's from the time you were young. Did you get your civil engineer training in Nepal or here in the United States?
I did my bachelor's in Nepal and master's from here in civil/transportation engineering and professional engineer license from state of California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did in Nepal, for example, is there more of an emphasis placed on financial education for people more so than here in the United States?
In Nepal, it's easy. Like financial education, basically they give higher interest. The bank gives you like good interest in the money,
Okay.
right?
So if you have a
it's-
savings account,
Yeah, you have a saving accounts, you're good. You have a like real estate or land, you buy land, it's a good, right? But here, and also there is not much income taxes or tax in retirements, such as like here people put all their money in 401k or things like that. When it's time for them to take it out, you don't know how much tax you're gonna pay, right? There's losing in money in the market, and also not much interest for your money is given, like when you put your money in the bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So those things, that's what we educate people on, like so that they can make a decision, right? What's good for them.
Do you find that, and I think you sort of touched on it, it doesn't matter what the generation is of person you're talking to, people of all ages maybe have unrealistic awareness about what it will take for them to become financially independent, right? There's a disconnect there maybe.
Yes, it's just like simple math, right? It's a time value of money. If you are 20 years old, and you want to retire at like 60, right? You have 40 years.
Yeah.
Even a little bit of money, $100, $200 will compound by the time, like 40 years. But if you are 50 and if you want to retire at 60, that's only 10 years. That means you have to save more, making sure that you save in somewhere that gives you good interest, making sure that you don't lose money in the market, as well as, it's a tax exempt, things like that. So it's just like what we do is we educate people, and it's not the same thing for everyone. It's just like when you go to the doctor, you cannot ask them, give me a medicine, right? Straight, like what they will do is take your blood test and X-ray and things like that, and give you particular solution for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What got you interested in that? Since your background was in engineering, what was sort of the flashpoint for you to say, I'm going to switch over to this instead?
That's really good question, because like I know a lot of people say when I quit my job in engineering, actually government job, it's a really nice paid job with the pension plan and all these benefits, right? My manager boss, actually, he called me in his office and locked the door, and 30 minutes he talked to me saying like, I'm worried about you. He's like, you just have your son, right? Like, and I'm worried about you, what you're gonna do, like. But I believe in me, like I believe in the cause, right? All those things, right? But here's the thing, I started working when I came to United States from minimum wage jobs, from let's say 7-Eleven, overnight job, to Subway, gas station, dining, like everything, like in a university, dining service, all those things, right? And I thought that once I get a degree and all those things, right, I'll be set for life. And work 7 years in construction and inspection. Great job, great boss, great coworkers, but I was super frustrated with the pressure I had. And I thought once I get my government job, I'll be all good. One of my friends told me that, and I got my professional engineering license, and I started working in Caltrans, which is a really great organization. Love that job. Easy job, great coworkers, and all those, like my boss was good, right? But at that time, I realized, again, freedom, okay? So I bought a house, first baby, right? And I realized I was looking at a house one day, and 30 years, I'm stuck here in this debt for 30 years in a small town called Eureka, California, right?
Sure.
And then, I wanted to have that freedom. Every time I travel somewhere in vacation, like in a job, it's like this, no matter how good job is job, you always have to go back to the same place and work there 9 to 5, right? Every time there is a vacation, I'm excited, but when the vacation is almost over, I feel like, oh my God, all these emails, I have to do this, I have to do all these projects and all those things like that, right? Yeah. That's one thing. And other thing is, I used to be super shy guy, like people don't believe that, but I used to be super shy guy, but I always wanted to be someone. I always wanted to like, set up, like become someone and give some impact to the community, right? So, but that job was not giving me that. I realized that you need to grow as a person and start, you have to contribute to get the real, like ultimate happiness, right? And then I was looking for different venue areas, and then I find out that financial industry is like a good paying. I started as first as like more for like money, everyone like, but slowly when I start sitting down with people like different families, and then it started to go from my head to my heart, like
Yeah.
how bad is this in the United States?
Right.
Bad, so. And then I started to go like from part-time to full-time, and I run this company, right? And I have an office here. I have multiple offices in different states. So,
Wow.
and we are growing. We have a team. Yeah, that's what we do. It's the challenge here is, only 1% people, which is, you heard about 1% wealthy people have all this education, right? Big financial companies more focused on 1% people, but how about the middle America, right? So
Right.
that's what I love to like educate people and give them that confidence and a
Uh,
plan.
I love what you said about it went from, at some point, it changed from your head to your heart. Do you think that people can sense that about your approach to working with them? And so that's one of your selling points that, again, because you mentioned how sometimes financial interactions with advisors or companies that are helping you plan things out feels very transactional and say, here, this is what you need to do. And here's this, and here's that, and here's the products we have to offer. Do you think that your people that you work with, customers and families, et cetera, they can feel the sort of the emotional desire on your part to serve them well as human beings versus trying to make money?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. If I get a chance to sit down with them like this, you
Yeah.
and me, Ed, right? Absolutely, they feel that. But sometimes when you're just talking to them, but on phone, and they don't know me well, sometimes it's a human nature that when people don't know you, they don't trust you yet.
Yeah.
And it's always about this, guys trying to sell me something or things like that. Like most of us, we have like we don't have that open mind, right?
Sure.
But once I get a chance to sit down with them, like they trust me, and they feel what, like I'm here to serve, not just to make money.
Yeah, that's important, Abnish. I think in any business, really, here in Santa Clarita, um, I think I've been working in the business. I used to work in the movie industry, first before I came to work here in Santa Clarita. And what I learned, I started working here in town in 1999. So, it's been like 26 years now. What I find is that people in Santa Clarita like to do business with people that they've had a chance to get to know and get to understand you and trust you and respect you. And then they're very loyal about wanting to work with you. But those relationships sometimes take longer than sort of the shotgun approach that some companies take to try to get customers, especially in something like what you're doing, which is a very personal, potentially life-changing approach that you're taking with people to help them. That sometimes those relationships have to be built, slowly but surely. It's not hard to get 100 people all at once to trust you, like you
Yeah,
said, because they don't know you yet,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They have to get a chance to know you. But I think when they would speak with you, they would understand how sincere you are about helping them. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and it's all about like most of the like financial advisors or maybe like salesperson, they more focus on the facts and like, hey, this is really good for you. This is this better than this, better compare, right? But actually, you need to ask them right questions, right? Right question,
Yeah.
what they need, what
Right.
actually they need, right? So when you ask them first, build a good relationship, and then ask them a right question, which is true for them, they will trust you.
Do you feel like some of your experience working in your previous profession, does any of that carry over into this profession? Like certain things you learned or qualities you have that made you good in that previous field that are also good for you in this field?
That's a really good question, right? Like, in our platform, we also have an opportunity, like not only financial education and services we provide, but we also have an opportunity to have your own business. And a lot of people ask me, because you're a civil engineer, you know numbers, that's why you're good in this. Actually, it's not, right? but it did help me on the number side because it's a financial industry. So as an engineer, it's easy for me numbers, right? But you know, for your question, yeah, it did help me for the numbers. But when you are an entrepreneur, it's not only about like numbers. Like you need to get better at different skill set and mindset, right? Like skill set, maybe like communication skills, leadership skills. I didn't have any of those. I was very, very shy guy, like introverted engineer
Sure.
working in computer with numbers, right? Those things I had to develop. Like it's called self-improvement. That's why we not only give opportunities to like, hey, you come here, get your license, you can make money. No, no, not like that. Actually, help them for their own growth in self-improvement, so that it's not only about making money, but it's a living a life, the best life you can have, like winning in every area of your life. So how to just like leadership skills,
Yeah,
right?
right.
How to like communication, how to be mentally tough. Most importantly, how to be mentally tough is so important, right? So those things that I learned. I was good in numbers, but those things I learned.
Well, but in addition to being good with numbers, when you describe, your journey when you came to this country and working in, first of all, your thought that if you come to the United States, it's a place where you can really achieve something, or, your perception of the country before you got here, right? The jobs you talked about doing are tough jobs, working overnight in convenience stores. And it's a real, so I think you proved that and of course, I don't know your family back home, but it would seem to me that your parents or the people in your life, your mentors, taught you the value of hard work, believe in yourself, go make something happen. Don't sit on the sidelines. You're in charge of your own life. You have to make something happen. And I think, Abnish, that's such a great lesson. And I'm guessing maybe that creeps into some of the stuff you do with people as well, meaning, mental toughness. Like that was you developing mental toughness, working those jobs. You knew that that's not what you wanted to do long term, but for right now, this second, that served what you were trying to accomplish, right? And I think mental toughness for sure, whether it's in athletics or whatever it is, or in this type of thing you're talking about, there are tough decisions sometimes people have to make, and you have to choose. Am I going to do this or am I going to do that? Sometimes the tougher decision might be better in the long run, but it's harder because human nature is we don't want to take the tougher decision, right? So I'm guessing you're kind of an inspiration to people when you work with them. If they know your story and they know how you came to be successful, that's probably helpful for people to hear that, right? To hear it from someone
Yes,
that they're
yes.
dealing with.
So going back to the background you told me about, when my parents, my dad is civil engineer. That's why I became a civil engineer, because that was my example for him, like
Sure.
from him, right? But I didn't have a good work ethic when I was in Nepal, because in Nepal, like you live with mom and dad. I came from Nepal when I was 24 years old. I'm 42 now, right? I had, my mom will bring the tea in my bed, like and wake me up, like right, wake me up, right? And I I thought like we watch a lot of Hollywood movies there, like all this, everyone drives car there in Nepal. If you are wealthy, you would drive cars. At that time, it's different now because you can finance things like that there. If you have cash, you buy house. If you have cash, you can buy car at that time, right? But like I thought, you step into United States, right? Like when I got my student visa, I thought like I will be rich and wealthy, right? Like I thought that. That's
Right.
what my thinking, because everyone who went in the United States, they will send a picture, and they will like, because the currency is like dollar versus the rupees is like way like 100 something dollar, but like $1 equals to 100 something rupees, right?
Okay.
So, and I came and I like when I first make my few dollars, right, 200 something dollar in a week, I thought like I was converting that to Nepali rupees, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be wealthy. But when I have to pay my rent and things like that, there's nothing,
Right.
right? And that's how it comes from. I started from zero, didn't know any, like I didn't know how to cook, never done, like work out, never done a work, right, at that time. And mom and dad used to do everything, and it's like struggled a lot, and then worked for 12 years, and then realize, okay, this is not working. This is not working, because I thought American dreams, you have financial freedom and things like that. No, I'm in a rat race and stuck in a debt for 30 years. Then I went to one of the like seminars where I learned actually about like what financial independent means, how you can grow as a person. Like I self improvement was introduced to me at that time.
Here in the United States.
Yeah,
Okay.
self improvement. Before that is professional improvement, only professional growth. How to get this certificate, how to get this certification, like a concrete inspector or like soils inspector, get a professional license, how to do this app, I mean this like software, how to do this calculation, those, right? But self improvement was introduced to me in one of the event, and then I started reading books and going to the seminars, and I know how to set up a goals, start action, how to be like consistent, how to plan, all those things, and that's how I learned.
But you're kind of a and I know you're very modest, so you would say no, this is not true. But you're a self-made man, really, because you come to this country and explored and were willing to look. And when you found yourself saying, "This is not exactly what I was hoping for. I want to now get more information so I can change this and branch out into something else." And here you are doing it, right? So you're a great success story and an inspiration to people to prove that if you're willing to keep an open mind, be honest, be mentally tough, chase after whatever it is you think you want to do, it can be done, and it can be done successfully. And now you're taking that success and helping other people, right? Not just with educating them about the financial elements, but it's kind of serving as an example of success. You can accomplish good things in your life if you're willing to make sacrifices and work hard and be smart about what you do, right?
That's 100%. And I wanted to, like add something on top of that is in any area of your life, you want to be better, you need to have a mentor. You need to have a mentor, right? For example, in fitness, I really wanted to be fit at this age of 42, right? And, actually Josh, Josh, right?
Yeah.
Josh is helping me, like he's training me 3 days a week. And here's the thing, mentors tell you things that you don't like, but will help you to achieve things you want to be.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
That's accountability. Like yesterday, I know that Josh is coming at 6 a.m., right, in the gym, and I have to be there at 6 a.m. in the gym. I didn't sleep well, like maybe 5 hours, 6 hours so, and then my head was I was having headache at that time, and I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be a tough workout today. But I did it because he was there. My coach was there,
Yeah.
and he was actually, like taking my accountability. He had a plan. I followed that plan. In 10 minutes, my headache was gone, and I felt great after that. So same thing in like fitness, finance, relationship, success stories, right? All those. I mean, any area of your life, actually, whichever area you want to be better at, find a mentor, coach in that area, and surrender to that person. Like whatever that person says, just
You're right. Yeah.
You like it or don't.
I've heard a lot of successful people say, find somebody who's successful at what you want to do. And then
just surrender. You like it, you don't like it, whatever you think. No. Yeah. They are successful in that area. So
right.
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, I think, and you're still such a young guy, and you've got a young family, and you're off and running, and you got this great career going, and you're helping other people. What is and it may vary depending on the age of the people that come to see you, but when you're working with people, what's the number one thing that people are least knowledgeable about when it comes to their own financial awareness? Like is there like a certain thing that sticks out most of the time, or it's just different for each person?
It's completely different for each person. Like some people even don't know what financial independent number is.
Yeah.
Some people already did a research, like very less people, maybe less than 10% people, they do their research and they know that if they have 401k, they are doing like something on side, they have their Roth, all these things, and they know where they're going. But most people, they have no idea. They're just working hard, husband and wife with kids, they make a little bit of money, but they don't know like whatever the age they want to retire. They don't know like if that will be enough or not. A lot of people say that I'm going to retire at 65 or so. It does not mean you are financially independent at 65.
Right.
If you ask someone like older, like most people are afraid of not having enough money
Yeah.
than afraid of dying at older age.
Right.
So it's a different, but very less than 10% people are more knowledgeable in their personal finance. And the other thing is, it's not only about growing your money. It's also about making more money. I'm not talking about money. Money is doesn't mean that like you focus everything on money, but money can be a great servant, right? Great servant. Financial freedom is needed so that you can do other things, like so that you can have a quality family time. You don't have to worry about the bills and all those things. You can have a world-class lifestyle. You don't have to, based on the price, you change your mind, right? You can have debt-free. How would you feel if you be debt-free in like few years?
Right.
How would you feel, right? And most people think that all these things, so world-class lifestyle, or all these things, or debt-free. You can be debt-free by saving more, but in reality, actually, you have to multiply your income. Meaning, say you have to make more. I used to think that way. If I increase my like hourly rate, like from $15 to $25 to $65, so these incomes are made by skills and hours. I'm trading my time for money. So no matter how much I make, I don't have freedom of time, and it's really hard to have quality family time, be debt free. But if you find a way to multiply your income, which is there is different ways, especially in this country, United States. If you find a way to multiply your income, then you can be debt free in no time. You can have a quality family time, right? Then you can live a world class lifestyle, right? And things like that. And yeah.
Is it just
And
curious?
everything I said it's not from me. I got it from my mentors, actually.
Sure.
I learned from the mentors. I have many mentors who are very successful in this. Very, very successful, not only in just like money wise, but every area of their life. Actually, you can win in every area of life.
Yeah, it's in Nepal. Just curious again, because I'm not familiar with the culture and all that. Is there a huge emphasis placed on financial freedom there as well, or is it not the same sort of focus there with the people, like when you're growing up and having a family in Nepal and whatever jobs people have there? Is it a relaxed attitude about life in general, or is it a little more driven?
Now I think it's getting a little bit tense, because I remember, I'm from Kathmandu, right? Kathmandu is the capital city. I think you heard of that song.
Sure.
I'm going to Kathmandu, right?
Yeah.
So Kathmandu is like it's a fastest growing city, right? Like the inflation is so high, like not only 3%, 4%, it's like so high. I don't know exactly number. I don't want to give a wrong number, but
right.
when mom and dad, I remember my dad is civil engineer. My mom works in bank at that time. Husband and wife working together, they can, build a home. Like they're buy a home, buy lands, and easy to keep your kids in school and things like that. Good lifestyle, like high middle class family, right? If you husband and wife have job, but now it's not like that. I've been there but 4 times since I came here, but it's now it's kind of similar to here.
Okay.
Because the inflation is so high that someone has a job doesn't mean they can buy a house in where I grew up.
Right.
So yeah, now it's slowly going to westernize, right? Like everything is finance, everything is a lot of interest in their like financing, buying a car. There's a compounding interest of debt. People are in debt, right? Things like that.
How many years did you work for Caltrans?
To be exact, 4.5 years.
Okay. Yeah. Like you said, that's good. I used to work for the state of California. One time I worked for an elected official, so I was a field rep for an elected official. So we dealt with Caltrans a lot on different issues here in the area. But you're right. Those are good jobs. Government jobs can
Those
be
are good
very, they cover a lot of elements, and they got the benefits and all those kinds of things. So yeah, that was a pretty brave move on your part to step away.
Yeah, actually, when you say that, something came in my mind. 4.5. Someone said, "Why don't you stay like 6 more months so that you are vested in your pension plan?" And I was like, "No, that's not important for me. Freedom is important for me, right?" And like hours and hours of sick leave, like there's like almost 200 hours of sick leave. Like I was like, okay, because that was not important for me, because important is what I found out is growing as a person is a happiness, contributing to the society and humanity, I'll say more like. And for that, I thought like entrepreneurship is the way. Entrepreneurship is the way that actually that builds you from, no one to someone. Like you have to grow as a person. So.
Well, now you're a mentor to the people that you're working with. I'm sure the people you work with see you as not just because of your knowledge about the educational component that you're doing with people, but again, I think your story is it's powerful. You come to this country and start from scratch and you've made this place in the world for yourself. It's a great story about perseverance and believing in yourself and taking chances and making hard decisions. It's a really good, I don't want to say it's the classic immigrant story because you immigrated to this country, and my dad was the same thing. He came from Ireland, come to this country, a self-made guy. He started out doing manual labor, had his own landscaping business, but it was the lure of the United States of America that brought him from his home country to here. And then he never wanted to ever go back home. He would go back home to visit, but he never wanted to relocate back to his home country. He loved the United States of America. And even though he was never rich, he loved the opportunities and the life it gave him here. He and my mom, my mom was born here, so a little bit different. But yeah, it's a great story, Abnish. I'm really, it's good to meet people like you that, that story about you kind of walking away from some of your retirement vesting, even though it was only 6 more months. That's a pretty powerful thing to do. Not many people would do that. That's a huge commitment to your cause to do that.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you for this opportunity. I just enjoyed this conversation, right? This is my first podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, this is my first podcast, and I was really super excited, and just thank you for this opportunity.
Of course. So you're starting out like low on the scale, and then you work your way up to Joe Rogan and those other. No, you've been great to have on. I really appreciate you spending the time and talking about what you're talking about. And again, I think the world needs people like you that are young, successful people that are willing to share knowledge, share their story, mentor other people, give people information that benefits them and helps their lives out. It's a great business you're working in. So you're doing a lot of good things for a lot of people. And I hope they appreciate you as much as they should, but I know it's hard to say, right? Sometimes with clients, but thank you very much for coming on. You come back another time if you don't mind.
Definitely will do that more.
Would that be good?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. That's great.
So
Okay.
Thank you, Ed.
Of course. Thank you. And then we'll do our thing, thanking Fred one more time because we love Fred. So again, thank you all for tuning in. And you can catch this when you do look at it on YouTube, if you like it. Hit the like button for us. There's also available on some other platforms as well. But again, as a reminder, if you're looking for a place to do business away from home, a business home away from home, come check out the SCV 360 Suites here in the Santa Clarita Valley, Fred Arnold and his team. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. My thank you again to Abnish for coming on and sharing your story, which is fantastic. And we hope the rest of you would all tune back in for another episode later. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
That's great.